We're going to go ahead and get started. Obviously, we're here today for Caleb, so I'm not going to speak here long, and I'm going to turn it over here to him in just a second. The format of this is a little bit different than what we've done in the past. Obviously, this isn't a signing ceremony. This is where Caleb's going to go ahead and announce his commitment for his college for next fall, and I'll let Caleb talk more about that part of it. But usually we do the signing ceremony and clap for him and all. But what we're going to do here with Caleb is when I turn it over to him, he'll say a few words, and then he's going to make his announcement, and we'll recognize him, of course. But then we're going to turn it over. We obviously have a lot of media here today, and we're going to give them opportunities to be able to ask questions and have Caleb answer those questions for the media. And then when we get done with that component, as far as most of you get your questions answered, then obviously, guys, we'll let you come forward and congratulate and recognize Caleb. So but just a few quick words about Caleb, though. It's almost comical, though, when he came here in 8th grade and we first saw him, and honestly, there was a discussion. He was a very talented lineman, but there was honestly a discussion about some tight end and all this because of his athleticism. And as he came up and in his 9th grade, we went to the first camp with us to West Georgia on the team camp, and he got thrown to the fire pretty quick, him and Josh. And we had to evaluate whether this kid was going to be ready to play yet or not. We really didn't know what we had. And candidly, by the freshman year, he started. How many games did you start? A couple of games your freshman year, right? 4 or 5 games his freshman year. And what we didn't know, you look at the athleticism, what we didn't know until we went to that camp and saw, though, was his toughness. And I think that's the piece that, as guys have looked at him from his freshman and sophomore year, and by this past year, I think it jumped off the film, was just how tough he was, and that goes with the athleticism. So, obviously he's a very recruited athlete. We could be here all day to listen to all the offers that he did receive. Probably the part I'm proudest the most with Caleb is with the whole process. He's kept a level head about it, and he's visited the schools, and he's been serious about the visits. He knew what he was looking for, and he wasn't just caught up in what the uniform was or who was on TV here. It was academics, it was the coaches, and factoring in all of those components into that. But I do have to say this comically, though. I do remember pulling John, Kim, and Caleb in that sophomore year. We had a meeting after his sophomore year, basically to tell John, Caleb's a pretty talented guy. You need to get ready for what's about to happen with the recruiting. Caleb's going to get a lot of attention. There's going to be people calling, wanting to know information. And I remember John looking at me and saying, "You really think so?" I said, "John, you don't know what's about to happen." And basically what I told you happened. And that's a credit to Caleb, the family, and what he's been able to do. And I do need to say this one thing, and I'm going to turn it over to him. While I got all these boys in the room, the best thing Caleb brought to the table, too, with his athletic ability was his GPA, to where he was able to get recruited much earlier, to where that wasn't never a question, and that plays into this as well. So you put the academics, the work ethic, and the athletic ability together, you get opportunities like this. So without further ado, though, I'm going to turn it over to Caleb, let him make his announcement, and be able to answer any questions that he may have. Caleb?
All right. Thank you guys for being here. It really means a lot to me. I'd like to thank my family, my parents, my sister, my grandparents for being here. They've always supported me no matter what the circumstances. And I want to thank my coaches too. Without them, none of this would have been possible. Most of all, I'd like to thank God, because I'm truly blessed to be in the position that I am today. So people have asked me why I'm wrapping this thing up so early. Partially the reason is I know where I've chosen is the right place for me and where God wants me to be. But really the main reason is so I can focus on my team and on our goal this year, which is get to the Dome and claim what's ours. So, without further ado,
I'll give an opportunity right here for any of you guys, and if you don't, I can start him. I will ask one question to start. Guys, do y'all have any specific questions that y'all may want to ask right now?
Okay, let's talk about Auburn. What you talked about, you knew was the right place. What made it the right place for you at this time?
well, just my comfortability with the coaches and everything they have going on right now. They've really sat down with me, talked about their scheme, and it's a nice place, just a really great place, and it really feels like home to me.
your relationship with the offensive line coach, J.B. Grimes. You were close with the offensive line coach at Georgia too, but talk a little bit about J.B. and what he brought to this whole decision.
Well, with Coach Grimes, he really seemed like he was interested in me as a person rather than just as a recruit. And, you know, that's a little different than most of the other places I've been.
Do you feel like this will be your final decision?
This will absolutely be my final decision.
How important have the visits, you talked about, you visited, you narrowed it down pretty quick to Auburn and Georgia, you were able to visit both campuses. How big was that in your process, being able to kind of see everything about those schools?
Well, I mean, it's really important just to get a feel about everything and how I fit in as far as the culture of the school. You know, getting to talk to with some of the other offensive linemen and just seeing how they act around coaches and things like that.
What do you think of the class that they've put together so far?
It's pretty impressive. They seem like they have some things rolling for them, and it's definitely something I want to be a part of.
What about the fact that of the 11 commitments, I guess 6 are from Georgia now, there'll probably be another, possibly be another one this weekend. Is there, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is there some buzz about the program in Georgia right now? Do you sense it or not?
To be honest, I haven't really paid much attention to it.
Just tunnel vision with your own process, is that?
Pretty much.
Okay, we'll talk about getting this out of the way before your senior season, and knowing that you're confident with your decision and knowing that's behind you.
Well, I mean, yeah, the recruiting process, it could be pretty distracting at times. So I just need to focus on what got me here in the first place, and that's my play on the field, my team.
When did you talk to Gus already?
Last night.
And what was his reaction?
Well, he's really excited. I actually told him last week for A-Day. It was an exciting time.
What was the atmosphere like down there? I mean, I'm sure that probably put the icing on the cake for you, wasn't it?
Of course, their fan base is amazing. You know, I've always liked Auburn. It's how they run things, and especially Coach Malzahn and their whole coaching staff is just top notch.
Good? We're good? Any more? We good? All right, guys, let's give Kaleb a round of applause.